It takes a lifetime of evil to be a villain, but one good act to be a hero. Earlier this week, I finished Never Die, the first book in the Moral Techniques universe by Robert J. Hayes, and this one was just a lot of fun, to be honest. Imagine, if you will, something similar to Joe Abercrombie's The Devils, but kind of in reverse. Instead of a universe that is really dark and, awful, and you have to have awful characters to achieve good means, it's actually an age of heroes, and the entire story is bringing back these dead heroes who have to kill the emperor of their land in order to get back their life and save the kingdom. That is essentially what Never Die is. And I feel like this book is really a great palate cleanser more than anything else. This book is a lot of fun. It is by no means a really deep story where you're going to really analyze these characters, or one that has really expansive world building, or, really great deep themes that you can really gnaw on and think about. This is instead a very fast-paced, Asian-inspired sword and sorcery book that is all about having fun. It's all about having a good time. And I think Robert J. Hayes absolutely nails it in those aspects. That's not to say that the characters aren't good, or the world building isn't good, or there isn't some interesting themes at play. There are. The characters are a lot of fun to read. I think they balance off one another well. I think they're fairly one note, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's like the one guy's the thief, the one person's the very honorable swordsman. It's very stereotypical, but it works. There's a reason that these tropes last, and it's because people like me like them, right? And it's the same with the world building. You don't get a lot of the world, you don't get deep understanding or explanations as to why the world is the way it is, but there's a lot to chew on, or to at least think about, especially if you're not someone super familiar with Asian and specifically Japanese mythology. There's stuff with shinigamis, there's demons, there's all sorts of, different mortal techniques, as, the book series is called, where people can infuse their chi into their weapons or into their skin or whatever, and basically use it like superpowers. It's very, very Asian. It's very like wuxia. I think that's how you pronounced it, which is like Chinese drama fantasy. So if you're familiar with that, that's kind of the vibe you're gonna get. It's kind of like I want to almost say it's kind of like a FromSoft game, where these people are the recently resurrected dead, and they have like these magical powers, and then they have to go and kill this like tyrant lord on behalf of this little boy who's been requested this by a Shinigami. It's a very fun book. It's one that I feel like, if you're wanting a break from longer series, you're wanting a break from the deeper stuff, you're wanting to just read something where you can kick back, you can relax, you can finish this in like a day and a half, and you can just enjoy yourself the entire time, I feel like this is going to work for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's fast-paced, it's got a lot of action, the action's pretty well written in my opinion. I think the characters have just enough substance in them to be interesting. I think the world building is just fleshed out enough to be interesting, but it never really wastes your time. I feel like there's really no fluff. You get together the band, they go in, they kill the emperor. That is the plot. That is what's going on here. And, it's compelling enough to make you want more from this universe, while also never feeling like it's too long. It doesn't feel like Robert J. Hayes was like, yeah, I need to flesh this out, because it seems like he came up with a really good idea and he just went and he wrote it. And I really applaud that in an author. Sometimes when you have a great idea, some authors really want to use the most in it, and they want to just get, they want to put like 17 books in their series or whatever, and that makes it too long. But some authors like Robert J. Hayes, they know what they have. They know the exact amount of length to write it at, and I feel like that is done really, really well here. Overall, it's just a really fun book. Fun characters, fun world building. I think the prose is decent. I think the action really stands out. I think the pacing is really tight. And I will definitely be reading more from this guy, because it was a good time, to be honest. Gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10.